Hi, it's Ann Perry. Thanks so much for joining me today. Our topic of discussion today is how can your birth date make or break your relationships? Now, I'm sure that you're interested in finding out, who's the best match for me, and we'll be talking about that today a lot. And we'll be talking about life path numbers and what your life path number is and who you are as a person. We'll also be talking about how to figure out what your life path number is, and so that you can determine your partner's life path numbers and how you guys get along well together or not. We'll also be talking about the trends that are affecting you right now. So possibly, maybe it's not a life path issue that you've got going on between the two of you. Maybe it's an issue with regards to the timing. Maybe one of you is in a cycle that's really a busy cycle, and the other one of you is in a cycle that's kind of a slow, I don't have a whole lot of energy going on kind of cycle. So whatever that is to you, I'm going to help you figure that all out. And so without further ado, let's take some paper and pen and let's get to work. So first of all, let's talk about why is your birth date so very important? Well, your birth date includes all of the lessons that you agreed to learn in this lifetime. It identifies your big lessons and the sub-lessons, and it identifies a lot of opportunities that are available to you in this lifetime. It identifies jobs that you're best suited for. And it also talks about trends that affect you each year. Your date of birth actually will show us what your short-term cycles are. And those are the things that people can really sink their teeth into. When I'm doing a numerology reading for someone, I really focus a lot on last year, this year, next year, because you can relate to that. I think it's important to do a little bit of review of each year so that it validates what I'm telling you for the years coming up. So it also identifies the birth day number. Now that's a sub-lesson, if you will, or a sub-quality. And that just simply means that your day of birth can be something that supports your life path number. So for example, if you are a number 1, a life path number of 1, the birthday number of 1 would be very supportive of that, give you even more of an edge on the 1 energy. And although your name might change over the course of your lifetime, your birth date never does. So this is why the birth date is the most important number in your numerology blueprint. You might drop a middle name, you might take on, a married name, you might hyphenate your name. Either way, it changes your vibration, but the one vibration that never changes is your birth date. So that's why we're going to focus on that today. So one of the very first things that we need to discuss here is the reality that all numbers hold vibrations, and that all vibrations produce a predictable characteristic or outcome around them. So understanding what each number of the number brings to the table will help you to understand your numerological blueprint much better. So are you ready to figure out what your life path number is? There is a right way to do this and there is a wrong way to do this. So I'm going to teach you the right way. And once you learn how to do this simple calculation, you're going to see yourself in a different light. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to use this tool to see others in a different light as well. So here we go. So how is your life path number calculated? Well, your life path number equals the sum of the month, the day, and the year, while reducing this to a single digit or master number. So what we're going to do is we're going to add up the digits in your month, and we're going to reduce them to a single number. And then we're going to add up the digits in your day while reducing that to a single number. And lastly, we'll add up the digits in your year and reduce that to a single number. So here's an example of a life path number calculation for March 25th of 1959. This month is a 3, so it remains a single month. The month of March is a 3, so our month number is a 3. The day is the 25th, so we're going to reduce that to a single number. 2 plus 5 equals 7, so our day number is a 7. And the year is 1959, so we're going to add 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 9, which equals 24. And then we reduce this further to 2 plus 4, which equals 6. So now our year number is a 6. The life path number is the addition of the month, the day, and the year. So in this case, it would be 3 for March, 7 for the day, and 6 for the year, which equals 16. We add 1 and 6 together, and this person's life path number is a number 7. Okay, so now let's take a look at the common miscalculations that can happen when you're trying to figure out somebody's life path number. So let's notice what can happen when we don't break down our numbers individually. Let's take March 12th of 1940 as an example. So done properly, this equation would look like this. 3 for March. The 12th day would be adding 1 plus 2 together, so that comes to a 3. And when we add 1940 together, it's 1 plus 9 plus 4 is 14, and 1 and 4 is 5. So we add 3 plus 3 plus 5 equals 11. So in this case, the life path number is an 11. Well, the 11 is a master number, and therefore it is never reduced. It holds a very significant value, and it's something that we really have to observe. If the number that you're coming up with for a life path number comes to 11 or 22 or even a 33, that's a double intensity of that number. In this case, it's a double intensity of the 1. This is a master number given to an old soul, to somebody who signed a contract before they came into this lifetime to do something pretty amazing with their lives. So now, if it's done incorrectly, let's take a look at March 12th, 1940 again. If you do, as a lot of numerologists suggest that you do, and you add the numbers straight across, in this case it would be 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 0, that would equal 20, and then 2 and 0 equals 2. And so you might say, well, Ann, what's the difference here? I mean, 11, 1 plus 1 equals 2, and 2 plus 0 equals 2, so what's the big deal here? The big deal is you can't overlook the intensity of the master number 11. So it's very, very important. I can't stress this enough. You need to break down the month separately, the day separately, and the year separately, so that we don't miss the opportunity to find a master number. Now, you will find in some cases that you will add the numbers straight across and you're going to get the same number anyways, and that's okay. But in this particular case, it would not have been okay. So I wanted to point out that, that difference to you. So now you know the right way to figure out what your life path number is. So I just want to point out again just how important it is to never reduce the life path number of the 11, the 22, or the 33. Leave them alone. And likewise, if you're born in the month of November, leave it as the 11. If you're born on the 22nd day, leave it as the 22nd day. So by now you're probably a little curious as to what do all of these life path numbers really mean? What are the lessons? What are the opportunities? Who am I? Where am I going? And who am I best suited to be with? So let's go find out. Okay, so let's talk about what do the life path numbers really reveal about us. Well, if you are a life path number 1, you're somebody who's very independent, very creative, very much the leader. You're certainly not a follower. You're somebody who's quite ambitious. Anything to do with design or entrepreneurship would be great. Marketing, inventions. You guys are very much the innovators. You're the explorers and you're pioneers, and that independence asks you to kind of stand alone, if you will, because the 1s are very, very independent. Now, if you were life path number of 2, the 2 is somebody that prefers partnership. Somebody who's a 1 doesn't necessarily need partnership because they're so highly independent, but the 2s really do like to have partnership. So they're very good in cooperative service. They're very good as support people, very considerate, very adaptable. They make great counselors, really good planners and social workers. They're the ones that like to sort of be behind the scenes helping out wherever's needed. They like to push the 1s ahead, so to speak. They like to be that support. The 3s, now the 3 is one of a crowd, right? So the 3 enjoys that social side of life. The 2s prefer sort of one-on-one relationships, but the 3s really like to have the crowd. They're very joyful. They're a lot of fun to be around. They're creative, artistic, great sense of humor. They really they have a sort of a no worry kind of a deal about them. They're great people. Writers, performers, comedians, they're musicians. Public speaking is really good for them. They like the group dynamic. They like to be part of the crowd. Now the 4s are the ones that are very practical people. They're very patient and loyal and trustworthy, very devoted people. They're very much about their families. They're exceedingly dependable, accountable. For them everything's black and white. With the 4s it's like black and white. It either is or it isn't, either fact or fiction. They're the designers, they're the engineers, the managers. They can make great architects as well. So anything to do with the The 4 number is all about building foundations, so they're very, very grounded people. The 5s, on the other hand, these guys are the freedom seekers. You know, they like variety, they like change, they like to shake it up, make it different. They're very social. But the thing that makes the 5 stand out is that they're very adaptable, very curious people. They're extremely flexible. You know, they can roll with the punches. They live for today. You know, they don't worry about tomorrow like the 4s do. You know, they spend their money freely because, you know, today's the only day that they know they have. Great salespeople. They can sell ice to the Eskimos. You know, they're great explorers, great marketers, great in sales. They really need to have a lot of change. You know, they get bored really easily. They learn by doing rather than by being through the books. You know, they learn much easier by experience. Okay, so now let's look at the 6 energy. The 6 is all about love and harmony and the domestic side of life. They're very stable people. They really need to be of service to others. They're all about balance. They make great teachers, you know, really good psychologists. They're good with animals. Animals are good with them. They're just the natural caregivers around us. They really need to be able to have a job that, or a position in a relationship whereby they can take care of you. The sevens are the head cases. I'm a 7, so I can say that freely. But we're all about mental analysis, very, you know, all about faith and research, very spiritual people. We don't tend to be religious people, more so we would be what we would be considered to be spiritual people. We've got lessons to learn around peace and trust. We're the investigator. We overthink everything. We're meant to be spiritual teachers. We make great scientists, analysts, and great metaphysicians. We can be in the psychic realm, very, very intuitive people. The 8s are the material builders. They are the ones that go after the material success. They're all about power and leadership. They're very self-reliant. Sometimes they have some control issues. They can be bankers because their lessons and their talents revolve around money. They can make great financial planners, investment brokers, business owners, although they are better working for somebody else. Being the manager in another person's business is great for them. And the 9s are the humanitarians. These are the charitable ones. They're very sensitive, very sympathetic, very loving. They're very environmentally conscious. They're all about keeping the peace and seeing the balance in all things, and they would make great landscape gardeners. But these guys just need to be of service to people. Unlike the 6s who need to be of service to the people right in front of them, the 9s need to be in service to people all around the world. They've got a very global need to help. Okay, so how are we doing so far? I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about the master numbers 11 and 22. I am absolutely passionate about people understanding how important and how special the energy is of the 11s and the 22. So let's take a little bit closer look at that, shall we? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how special the master numbers are. The master numbers 11 and 22, they are very, very old souls. The 11s are the messengers. They're the ones that are here to deliver a message that is going to make an amazing difference for a lot of people in this lifetime. They know that. They're very intuitive. They're very spiritual. They know that they're here to do a big thing. They're the counselors. They're the psychics, the healers, the peacekeepers. The 11 is a very, very high vibration with a big job to do while they're here. The 22, on the other hand, they've already been an 11 in a previous lifetime. They've already done that chapter. So they've come back to be the master builder. They're the ones that are going to build the foundation of, say, an orphanage or a food bank or some kind of a humanitarian effort, which will house a foundation that will be of service to a lot of people. The master numbers are always people that want to be of service and make a big difference while they're here. So let's look at the commonalities that exist between the master numbers. They all hold special qualities of inspiration and leadership. They're here to make a difference, and sometimes that they don't necessarily know what it is they're meant to do, but they know they're meant to be of service to mankind. Master numbers are only given to people who are very old souls who've got lots of life experiences to share from previous lifetimes. So they hold a lot of cellular memory. And the master numbers hold very high tension energy. So sometimes they tend to be on the nervous side. The energy runs really high. And they're also, it's common for them not to sleep particularly well. The people with master numbers, they know that they vibrate differently than everyone else. They might not articulate, hey, I vibrate differently than you do, but they feel it, they know it. And they often feel that they don't live up to other people's expectations. And really, it's not so much other people's expectations that they're afraid they're not going to meet. It's typically their own. So are you ready to find out which numbers you're compatible with and which ones maybe not so much? Let's go. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the life path number 1 and find out which numbers are compatible and which ones aren't. So the life path number 1 is most compatible with life path numbers 3s and 5s. The life path number, the 3 and the 5, are going to tolerate that demanding nature of the life path number 1. The 3s, they've got a sense of humor, so they can take the energy of the 1 lightly. And the 5s, they're very flexible in nature, and they have, they can put up with an awful lot. The 6s can also do well with the life path number 1 because they're very compassionate and they're very forgiving. Sometimes the 1 can kind of get in your face because they're really ambitious and driven, but the 6s are like, oh, let me just make you a cup of tea and you'll be okay. The life path number 1s should avoid relationships with other 1s or other 8s because 1s and 8s, they can tend to be very dominant numbers and they end up being very competitive. So 2s and 7s make good supportive friends, but they don't make the best of romantic partners. Okay, so let's take a look at the life path number 2, and this will also apply to the 11s. So the 2 life path numbers are most compatible with the 8 life path number. The 8 life path number are very much the visionaries. It's the same as the 2s and the 11s can be. The energy of the 9 life path number is also very good because they're humanitarians. The 8 is especially good because the 2 is decisive, but the 8 is the industrious one. So both in business and in love can be a really good match. The 6s, they can be a good match because they have a very gentle energy that's very similar to that of the 2 life path number. They just seem to vibrate the same way. The 4 life path number, it's going to appear as a really good fit initially, but in the end it's going to tire, and as will the serious and introverted energy of the 7 life path number. So the 4s and the 7s, not so much with the energy of the 2. So let's take a look at the life path number 3. Those of you with 3 life path numbers work well with life path numbers 5s and 7s. 5s are attractive to the 3 because the 3s enjoy unpredictability and they're a little bit of chaos in their lives, and the 5s are always up for that. They're flexible, they're adaptable, and they're unpredictable. The 7 life path number can be really attractive because 3s appreciate that introverted and often mystical personality of the 7s. The solid and the practical, trustworthy energy of the 4, on the other hand, really should be avoided, even though the qualities would probably serve the relationship well, because those 3s, you guys need a little bit of grounding. It wouldn't hurt you a bit, but when the 3 and the 4 are together, they just seem to draw out the worst in each other. So while you might initially be attracted to the, authoritative and physically impressive number 8, he or she may well drive you up the wall because they tend to be a little on the critical side. And you guys, you have to rise above criticism sometimes, so that's not such a good fit for you. The 6, normally the most harmonious of all of the numbers, doesn't really thrive very well in the company of a 3 and vice versa. And it's mostly due to the, dare I say, the flaky and maybe a little undisciplined nature of the 3. You guys are, you're fun to be around, and you kind of live in the moment, and the 6s, they're just not really up for that. So the lack of focus and discipline is also the reason that you should probably avoid another relationship with another 3, because you do need a little bit of grounding. Okay, let's talk about the life path number 4, which also will apply to the energy of the 22, the master number 22-4. So if you have a life path number of 4, your need for a lasting, solid relationship is much stronger than any other number. And it's not because you don't like to be alone, it's just because you value the grounded and the routine lifestyle that's associated with long relationships. You're very much about family. Family is really important to you. You like the whole white picket fence scenario. You'll want to avoid the playful, unpredictable energy of the life path number 3. That'll just drive you crazy. 5s are going to be attractive to you, but they're restless. They're restless people. They don't like routine, and you do. So an attractive match might be the focused, more determined life path number of 1, as would be the energy of the 8, the life path number 8 would be good for you too, because they're goal setters and you really value that. The 8 in particular is a good match because both of you are organized, you're very disciplined, but where the 8 is more of a visionary and you're more of a detail-oriented person, this can be a really great combination in both romance as well as in a business relationship. So entering a relationship with the worldly and often reserved number 9 can be a real challenge because you've got a more down-to-earth and practical nature, which simply does not work well with the idealistic dreamer of the 9 energy. 4 life path numbers often enjoy long-standing relationships with that of the 7 because the spiritual and the intellectual life path number of 7 is a source of wonder and admiration to the 4s. They just really get that. They're really curious about that. So sometimes that can make a really good match too. Okay, let's take a look at the life path number 5. Let's see who we are compatible with and maybe not so much. The 5 life path numbers, actually, they have more options for successful relationships than any of the other life path numbers. 5s are typically loyal and devoted, but they're also very restless and they're in constant need of change and constant need of freedom. They really, really need their space. 5s need partners who are neither predictable nor demanding on the 5's carefree lifestyle. They need to know that when they want to go out for the night, you're going to be okay with that. Life path number 1s make good partners because they can be courageous and they like to take risks, and the 5s really appreciate that value. Life path number 3s also make good partners as they're lighthearted and they're optimistic, as are the life path number 5. It's just a good energy to be in. 6s can be a good match too, so long as they are true to their nature, which is typically sacrificing time can be sacrificing time with you. They're very giving people, so they understand your need for your freedom, so that can be a good fit. 7s can offer a bit of balance to the wild side, or the undisciplined side and self-indulgent side of the 5s. The 5 life path number is one of the few life path numbers that can actually be paired with another 5 very successfully. The life path number of 4 is a practical energy, a very steady energy, and on first glimpse you might say, well, that'd probably be good for me, but I'm telling you, you'll quickly bore with the 4's need for routine and security. You're just not about that. You live for the moment. You live for today, and the 4's live for tomorrow. So the life path number 9s can get frustrated with you as they are super responsible, and the 5s, that's just not them. And the 8 life path numbers are a little too goal-oriented and a little too idealistic for you to be in a satisfying relationship with. Okay, let's take a look now at the life path number 6. The 6 life path number is likely the most compatible number of all due to its need to be of service to others. They just want to help. They just want to be there for you. They want to take care of you. 6s are compassionate and they love to sacrifice for their partners. They're very invested in their families and their relationships. The gentle energy of the life path number 2 is likely going to be your best match, as both the 6s and the 2s are guided by an emotional heart energy rather than that of an energy that comes from the mind, like the 1s, the 5s, and the 7s. The life path number 9 is a good fit as well, as they are the sympathetic givers, and their values are well in line with the 6s because the 6s are the givers too. Even though the 9s want to give abroad, the 6s want to give right in front of themselves. So the life path number 5 can be a bit of a challenge because of their need to be self-serving, and 6s just don't understand that need for freedom and the need to take for themselves. They really are all about giving to everybody else. The life path number 3s are likely the least desirable match with the 6 because the 6 just does not appreciate the scattered and irresponsible energy of the 3 life path number. Let's take a look at the life path number 7 here. The life path number 7s are the least likely of all numbers to get married and the least likely to stay married. So they have kind of a bit of a critical nature. They're very much inside their heads and they have lofty dreams, high expectations, and sometimes they're difficult for anyone else to live up to. Now the 7s have a huge need for time alone. 7s really enjoy time in nature. It's really good for them to be by the water, definitely to be outside and communing with the trees and nature. They've also got a need to be challenged intellectually. So if you are not their intellectual equal, as they seem to feel that you should be, it's not going to work. 7s are best suited with the creative and upbeat energy of the life path number of 3. The 3s will stretch their mind, and the 5s are good for them too because they typically are very intellectually sharp and they're unpredictable, and the 7's kind of like that. The life path number of 2 is sometimes just a little too superficial, a little too sensitive for the 7s to have to handle, because the 7s are in their heads, remember, they're not in their hearts so much. They have a hard time getting from their heads to their hearts. The life path number 1 is just too dominant for you, and the life path number of 8, they're just a little too focused on the material side of life, which is just not the case for you. You just can't even identify with that. The life path number of the 4 can be a good fit, as they do share similar spiritual values. So that is somewhat of a possibility for a good working relationship for the 7. Okay, let's take a look at the life path number 8. The 8 life path number, these guys like partners that can be guided and controlled to a certain extent. The 8s really do like to have control. They like to be in charge. They like to be the managers. 8s don't compromise well, and sometimes they don't even play well in the sandbox because they like to be in charge at all times. So the energy of the 2 and the 6 can be really good choices for them, because the 2s and the 6s will tolerate your need for control. The life path number of 1 is a pretty poor match, because you'll always be in competition with each other, always have to be able to hold the reins. The freedom-seeking life path number 5 is not a really good choice, as it rattles your need for material success. The energy of the life path number 3 is incompatible due to the fact that the 3s are they're sort of lofty, and they're irresponsible in their lifestyle sometimes, and 8s just don't have time for that. The 8s' choices are somewhat limited because of their need to control. So likely the best choice is the life path number 4, and not because you can control it, because the 4s can control themselves, but due to the fact that in so many other ways you are so compatible. You're both very grounded, you're methodical, you're logic-driven, practical, disciplined, goal-oriented. Everything's sort of black and white for you guys, so you really do understand each other's best. Okay, so now let's look at the life path number of the 9. Well, the life path number of 9, these guys are the most challenged numbers in finding compatible relationships, because oftentimes the 9s are very secretive and they keep their distance from people. You never quite know what's going on behind the eyes of the 9. And they often suffer from trust issues. They can even be a little bit jealous at times. They make very great, very loyal friends, but they don't expose their deeper fears or dreams, even to those that are the closest to them. They're very intuitive, very sensitive. So the intuitive and sensitive life path number 2 is a good match for them, as they see through the artificial defenses that the 9s will often put up. Another good match is the protective and the very loving energy of the 6. You guys just have a lot in common. You both have an appreciation of community and humanitarian efforts, and you're both givers. The life path numbers of the 3 can also make a good connection, as both of you are very creative, very artistic, sometimes very musical, and they're very imaginative. And the 3's sense of humor is really a good thing for you, because you tend to be a little uptight at times. So the most challenging relationships for you would likely be the life path number of 5, and also that of the 7, because the 5 energy is just a little too chaotic for you, and the 7 is just a little too out there for you to handle. Okay, so by now you've probably had your eyes opened a little bit further with regards to the energies of the life path numbers. You know a little bit more about yourself, you know a little bit about your partner or a potential partner, and maybe you can see where there's some strengths and there's some weaknesses. Either it works or it doesn't. But you know there's other contributing factors that can either make or break a relationship, and they have to do with your date of birth. Now your date of birth produces an energy that is tied into what we call the epicycle. And the epicycle is a personal year in which you are in, and it can be, you could be in a personal year of 1 and your partner might be in a personal year of 5 and that sort of thing. So sometimes if the cycles aren't compatible, that can really cause some stress in a relationship. The other thing that can cause stress in a relationship comes from your name on your birth certificate. Your name on your birth certificate produces long-term cycles, and these long-term cycles can sometimes go right to the end of your life, but they also produce what's called an essence number. And the essence number is something I look for in a numerology chart, because the essence number will describe how you are personally going to go through your personal year. So let's look at that a little bit more closely, shall we? So one of the things that I pay a lot of attention to when I'm doing a personal numerology chart or a relationship compatibility chart is the epicycle. Now the epicycle is just a fancy name for a 9-year cycle. And each one of us is somewhere within this 9-year cycle. So January 1st is when these cycles begin. So in January, you come into a full cup of whatever your personal year is. So if by chance you happen to be in a personal year of 1, which it shows up there in the top right-hand corner there, that's going to be a year of new beginnings. That's going to be a focus on you being number 1. When we come into our year of 2 is going to be about you and one other person. So it's a bit more focus on partnerships. The year of 3 brings in the need for a social time. The year of 4 is all about putting 4 posts into the ground and getting very focused, building a foundation for yourself. The year of 5 is going to be about freedom and expansion and unexpected events and lots of change. The year of 6 is going to be a little bit of domestic drama going on there. Typically what happens in a year of 6 is somebody in your family is demanding a little bit more time and attention than what you normally would give. Maybe your mom is ill, your dad's not well, a sibling, there's an issue there. It can also be a focus on your marriage or a relationship within your home. The year of 7 is when you go into your cave and you get a little reflective and introspective. It's about self-reflection. You had a lot of energy around your family the year before, so this is the year you throw your hands up in the air and go, you know what, guys? I'm going in my cave for a year, so just leave me alone. I want to figure out what my next move is. Then we come into our year of 8, and the 8 is going to be about the material side of life. So that's your paycheck. That's how much money you have, how much you're making, how much you're not. Do I need a second job? Can I afford to buy, sell, invest? It's all related to your money. And then when we come into our year of 9, the year of 9 is going to be all about endings, which makes room for the next year, which is all about new beginnings. So when I look at this chart, and I'm looking at 2 people in particular, I might be looking at you, who's in a year of 9, which is all about endings, but you've got your partner might be in a year of 1, which is all about new beginnings. So your head's wrapped around let's end this, and their head's wrapped around let's begin this. Okay, so you can see where that could be a bit of a contrast going on. Likewise, if you're in a year of 1 and your partner's in a year of 2, well, in the year of 1, you're going to have lots of energy. Let's go out, let's do something, let's start something. I just want to go, go, go. When your partner's in a year of 2, they are tired. They're recovering from their personal year the year before. They don't want to play. They just want to hang out on the couch and just hang out with you or hang out with somebody else. So you can see that by looking at the epicycle and figuring out where you are and where your partner's at, you can really understand that sometimes the issues that you're experiencing in your relationship might simply be a transit type issue. It could be just a temporary thing. For every minute that goes by, we're closer to a day going by, and a day leads into a year. So, you're shifting all the time. If you're down in a year of 4, you might be feeling very stuck. A lot of people feel very, very stuck when they're in a year of 4. But you know what? That's self-imposed, because we can't be stuck. Every day goes by, the universe is moving further to the year ending, so you can't be stuck. The world is not going to stop revolving just because you're having a bad day, okay? So, but your partner might feel stuck, or you might feel stuck when you're in a year of 4. So that can be a little bit of a challenging year. Likewise, the 5 can be unexpected events. Whoo, baby, did not see that coming. So look out for those. So you can take a look on the left-hand side here, and I've given you an explanation as to how to figure out what your personal year is. The first thing you need to do is determine what your universal year is. So if you are happening to be watching this video in 2016, you're firstly going to add 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 6, which equals 9. And then to that, we're going to break down your month. So if you were born, for example, March 25th, March will be your 3rd month. The 25th breaks down to a 7 because 2 and 5 are 7. And then we add that to the universal year. When we add the 3 plus 7 plus 9, it comes to 19. We're going to take the 1 plus 9, add it to 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. So this person is in a 1 personal year. So if you'd like a little bit more information about the personal year cycle and how it works, you can visit my website. It's www.anneperrynumerologist.com/epicycles. There will be a description of each personal year, so you can flip it back, you can flip it forward, you can look at the present, whatever you need to do to get a really good understanding as to where you are and where your partner's at. So now I want to remind you that although the epicycle is a really valuable tool, it gives you an excellent idea as to, the trends that will be affecting you this year. That epicycle pertains to all of us. That's like a black and white template. If I'm in a one personal year and you're in a one personal year, we're both going to go through the same kind of an experience. But what makes my experience very different from, say, your experience is that my name on my birth certificate is different than yours. So that's going to produce another number. It's going to produce what's called an essence. And the essence is like is like color that we're going to add to that black and white photograph, which is the epicycle. So, for example, if you're going through a one personal year and you have an 8 essence sitting in that one personal year, it means that the energy around that one personal year is going to have a lot to do with your money. Likewise, if you are in a 6 personal year, which is all about sort of a little bit of family drama, and maybe there's a 9 essence there, well, there could be an ending in that, in the dynamics in your home. So, a full numerology chart will be able to delineate that for you and to be able to tell you what's happening. It tells you when these essences start and when they finish, which is a really good indicator. If you're in a funky place and you want to know when's this funky time going to end, that's a really good indicator for that. So I would encourage you to look at the possibilities of maybe setting up a time to get together and let's do your full numerology chart and explore that. So I hope by now you have reached a better understanding as to who you are through your life path number and those around you and maybe potential prospects, people you might want to share some time with. And I'm hoping that understanding the epicycle helps you to see that not always is it the life path number that's the problem, if there is a problem. If you travel the epicycle together at the same time, you know what, you're going to have some really good years together. And when the years are not so good, they're not going to be so good. That's just the way it is. But it's okay. If we understand each other, we know that everything is temporary, and this, one of my favorite sayings has always been, and this too shall pass. So if you'd like to keep in touch with me, I'd love to keep in touch with you. So you can follow me on Facebook. I'm Ann Perry Numerologist. You can also view my YouTube channel. Once again, it's Ann Perry Numerologist on YouTube. I have several videos there explaining different aspects of numerology. And I also have a monthly newsletter. So if you go to Ann Perry, www.annperrynumerologist.com, you can sign up for my newsletter there. I promise I don't inundate you with lots of stuff, but I do send out a newsletter that's kind of informative once a month and lets you know when these webinars are coming up and when the classes are coming up and anything new and exciting I might have developed on the way. So I'm really grateful that you took the time to spend with me today, and if there's any questions whatsoever, please feel free to post them down below. I try to answer everybody, and if you have any issues, concerns, or if there's another area of topic that you would like for me to cover, I would love to hear from you. For now, I hope that you're counting on having an absolutely fabulous day. This is Ann Perry Numerologist saying goodbye. Thank you so much.